just a few days before Supreme Championship 17 on May 21. A very good evening to you. I've got the gorilla Justin Moore with us. Justin, how you doing, bro?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. It's fight week. You know that feeling all too well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A bit different this one, obviously, because I was planning on fighting, so it's a little bit disappointing. Well, not disappointing. It's good seeing the boys. The boys are all ready, more than ready now. It's just a little bit, obviously, I was planning on fighting, so it's a bit disappointing. But it is what it is. So, but I'm looking forward to the boys, and they were going to do us proud anyway. So,
Amen to that. Yeah, so
yeah,
let's play a little game to kick this thing off. I've got
yeah,
three questions for you. Yes or no?
yeah.
Did you see the interview we did a couple of weeks ago with Andy Manzolo?
I did. Yeah.
Did you watch it
Actually,
all?
no, I watched about the first sort of 10 minutes of him saying his bit. I don't know if he was drunk or not, but I'm guessing from the way he was talking, he's got to have had a drink before that. And I watched the first 10 minutes of that, and then I got tired of listening to his bullshit and just turned it off and put on Google Box or something. So
All right, so we'll say yes and no to question number two, and I'm going
yeah,
to give you number three. Did you agree with anything he said at all?
um, not really, no, not
Ooh.
really any of the stuff he said. I don't know what sort of opinion he's got of himself, but obviously he surrounds himself with his team. He doesn't bring anyone to he doesn't bring anyone high level into his camp anymore. He just trains with his guys. So he's always going to be the king of his own little castle down there. I don't know if you've seen or you might have, but we had Nadeem Naramani come down this weekend, do a seminar for my boys. I've done a couple of, I've been up and trained with Nad a couple of times, with Jordan actually. And Nad's a great guy, obviously UFC
Mm.
fighter. Obviously he's beaten Paddy Pillmare, who's obviously a bit of a hype train at the moment. And we obviously have guys like that come down and also bring obviously former opponents and coaches who I've met obviously who run up obviously over my career. I bring them in to try and help the team. And because if you're the best in the training room, you're in the wrong training room. And that's what I'm trying to get over to my guys. And but when I'm trying obviously to train for a fight, I want to make sure I'm almost the nail rather than the hammer every time. So Andy doesn't do like doing that. Andy doesn't like a tough camp. He doesn't like tough sort of fights anymore, which is fair enough. So he's had a good career. He's had a long career. He doesn't want that tough fight anymore. And I think that's probably why he started giving the crap online he was doing towards me. He doesn't normally do that. So I think it was actually his partner, his girlfriend, who started it with a couple of comments, which was surprising. I think my missus wanted to jump on board with that and give her some crap back. Um, she's game for that. And but obviously I stopped her from doing that because we're trying to keep it a bit professional. And obviously some of the crap Andy was coming out with, and I sort of left into it. I was just up for the fight. And then obviously the injury, which was about 7 weeks ago now, the injury happened. And obviously we informed Ali and Jordan straight away of it. And that's, so we left it a few days. And then we informed, obviously, when the injury happened, it was a knee to the sternum, which I dropped down for a takedown. And the lad, it was weird. He wasn't supposed to be throwing knees or elbows in the sparring session, and he was just towards the end of the session. He was getting tired, and it was just a mistake. Accidents happen. And it sort of landed on the sternum, and then obviously a couple of days later, it wasn't sort of going away, and I could tell it was quite serious. And then went and had it X-rayed, and then speaking to a couple of pros, Jamie Sloan, who's fighting on the card, and David Whelan, one of my other coaches. They just said that you can't do this fight. I mean, you're fighting a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, a judo black belt, and it's going to be at some point we're going to be grappling at some point. And if I can't grapple in my training camp, I can't have a fight and do that. And obviously a couple of people and a couple of guys, I'm not going to name names, they were like, look, we'll just fill you for the microphone just to make the fight basically. But I thought it's one of my last fights. It's in Bournemouth. I want to go out and win. I know I can beat Andy. I know I can beat Andy. I've been out and sparred Andy and beat him around the cage. I know I can beat Andy. So I want to make sure if I'm 95 to 100%, I know I can get that win. I want to do myself justice. So going in there sort of, I'm not even at 50%, obviously, with the injury. Like, I haven't done a roll or spar for the last 7 weeks. I'm doing a little bit of drilling, a little bit of technique. But just tonight, we had our last training session tonight. And we're going through the motions with the boys. And one of the lads sort of went to get mount. And he sort of shuffled forward. And I felt his groin guard push into my chest. And I'm just like straight away just trying to push him off me. And I'm like, it's still not. And obviously, it's fight week. So it was never going to happen. So I think I know I made the right decision. Much as I didn't want to pull out, I know we made the right decision. So it just means next time. And obviously with the crap he's come out with his interview with you and his stupid post he put up, with the stuff he's posted, it's just fueling me even more now. So I fight better when I'm angry. And with Andy, I haven't got a game plan for anything because I know what he does. Everyone knows what he does. I haven't got a game plan for anything. I can just go in there, ragdoll him like I did last time, but just be a bit more composed with it this time. And my jiu-jitsu is so much better and my wrestling's better. He knows he's getting slammed. And it wouldn't surprise me if I get a submission on him as well. I know he thinks he's the big I am with his because he's getting very big and strong now. and he just doesn't want to cut weight anymore. See, that's why he wanted to fight at 88, even though I was happy to go to 84. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting older this time. I'm looking forward to seeing Saturday night and seeing if he's as cocky down the camera as he is, obviously, in person. So we'll see.
I want to go back to the beginning of this. Nad Naramani, that guy is a
Yeah,
beast, man. I remember when he beat.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember when he beat like Jeremy Patley. I was just like,
Yeah,
jeez. And Patley's a tough dude.
yeah,
Um, focusing on my original question. So
yeah,
yes, you watched it. Yes and no, you watched some, but not all. And
yeah,
no, you did not agree with anything he had to say.
yeah.
He said he liked you though.
Yeah, I do like Andy. We've got respect for him. I mean, I've got respect for that. But when it comes to the fight, when we're talking about a fight, I think obviously another side comes out with people because at the end of the day, you're having a fight with someone. So we're not getting there shaking hands and having a chat and a drink. We're having a fight. And outside the cage, I've got nothing but respect for Andy. I love he's had a great career. He's fought some tough people. But when obviously the fight got agreed, I think he was talking about saying that he felt a bit disrespected that I called him out. It wasn't a call out like disrespect. I mean, I don't call anyone out through disrespect. I'm calling Andy out because I think I retired after the Christian Duncan fight, and obviously Christian's gone on and won the Cage Warriors title, and he's looking like a massive star for the future. And after that, when Christian won the title, it sort of made me think like I want to get one more fight in. And I was on a local show, sort of Bournemouth show. Like the best guy in the area for me to fight would be someone like Andy Manzoni, because obviously he's had a good career. He's sort of we're on the same level. We've been on the same shows. We fought some of the same people, and
Yeah.
obviously we fought before. So I thought it's an obvious fight to make. And obviously he's got that win over me as well. So my little girl's just running in. Obviously it's an obvious fight. It's an obvious fight to make. You know, silly.
Hello.
I thought it's an obvious fight to make with him. And then I think he thought it was a bit disrespectful of me at first calling him out, but it wasn't a call out like that. It was out of respect. Like, come on, let's have this fight again and have a good one for the fans, because there's been a few fights where it's been a bit hit and miss or been over a bit too quick, and a couple of guys have obviously picked and chosen their opponents. I don't want to do that. I want to fight the best,
Yeah.
and he's one of the best in the area, so that's out of respect for him. And then obviously I think his partner jumped on board and put something up, calling me a snake for calling him out. But it's not a call out like that. And then she started posting stuff saying I was baby gorilla, apparently, which is, I mean, that's what you want to say. And then
Let me ask you this then. Does it sounds
yeah,
like there might be a fight potentially between your partner and Andy's girlfriend? Could we do that, like a
uh,
WWE
we
tag
could
team
do
kind of
we
thing next
we could do
Supreme?
that. We could do that, but I don't think it would really be a fight. Do you know what I mean? I think she likes her nails and makeup and how she looks. My missus, she just done a jiu-jitsu like grappling tournament, the British sub-only tournament like a month ago after like 6 weeks of training. So Annie's girl likes to sit there and just obviously look pretty and obviously watch the fights. My missus likes to have a bit of a, I mean, she's quite game. So I don't think that's really a fight, to be honest.
The challenge has been issued. The Gorilla Fight Team is taking
Yeah.
on everybody, every opponent. It'll be like the Game of Thrones. You'll have different
Yeah.
families warring over the South Coast, right?
Yeah.
Um, obviously, Andy, he had a lot to say in that interview, and he said a
Yeah.
lot of interesting things to me. He actually said that he like suspected you might pull out, but yet
Yeah, I
his
know.
mindset. Let me finish though. He said that his mindset is like, I'm never really doing anything in a fight camp except for my cardio because my technique is always there. So that
Yeah.
kind of led me to believe two things. Number one, he doesn't really mind who he fights, and he thinks that technically he'll be superior.
Yeah.
And number two, he actually was at least explaining to me that he kind of foresaw this actually happening. What do you think about that? Does it mean he's not taking you
Um,
seriously, or
I don't. I don't know, because he was sending me videos of him like drinking beer, like sort of 6 weeks out of him drinking beer, and oh, I need to start my camp, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that, and he didn't want to cut any weight, which means because I know he knows in that last fight I'm always physically stronger than Andy. I mean, every time I've fought him and I've sparred with him, his technique is amazing. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. His technique is going to be there. He's been fighting longer than me. His technique should be better than me. But to think that he hasn't got prepared for me and to train properly, first of all, I think is it's the wrong way to be in front of the lads you're training. They shouldn't see that. I mean, they should be looking up to you, and you should be working harder, or if not the same level as your guys, so they can aspire to that. So I don't think that's a good look on as for him as a coach. Um, yeah, so like, yeah, I was annoyed. I was annoyed with the interview, and then him to say, I think he made a couple of comments where saying I don't think I'm on his level. I mean, you can also think that's cool, but I remember going down and sparring him before he fought Charlie Ward, and
yeah,
I remember driving home with Jordan Miller, and we were both chatting about it, saying, "God, wish he was like that when I fought him, obviously a few years ago." Because when I went down and sparred him, he couldn't touch me. Like I was taking him down, sort of beating him around wherever I wanted. and that's what sort of gave me the confidence. Like a couple of years later now for the fight, like I'm not worried about Andy in the slightest. Like, yeah, he's got very good jiu-jitsu. Like, I'll give him that, but I'm not going to sit down and play jiu-jitsu with him. I'm going to sit in his guard and let him
Yeah.
try and triangle me, try and use his butterflies. I mean, when I last time I fought in, I didn't even know what a butterfly was. I mean, I thought butterfly was something in your garden. I didn't know what a butterfly hook was. And then after the fight, people said, "Oh, his butterflies are so good." I was like, "Yeah, I need to work on that." So I spent a few years, obviously, quite a lot of time working on the jiu-jitsu, and obviously I met Pete Robson, my jiu-jitsu coach, and did a lot of work with him and worked on those areas, and that's all we've been doing for the cancer, the injury.
Yeah.
So for Andy to think that he's still on that, he doesn't need to work on his technique or train harder. He's always going to be sort of above people. I think it's the wrong way to look at it. With fighting, everyone gets better. Like look at someone like Oliveira. He just won, beat Gaethje the other week, and I mean, he had a few losses on his record.
Yep.
And then now look at him. Do you know what I mean? With MMA, I think if you're training right, you're going to get better and better. Everyone's going to get better.
Yeah.
If you're training right, if you think you're already there, it's the wrong attitude. You're going to lose. That's probably the reason why when Andy was offered a Cage Warriors contract, he didn't take the contract because he didn't want to have tough fights. I mean, I know that for a fact. I mean, he had one fight on Cage Warriors and that was it. He didn't want to have any more after that. That's why he likes to go to Estonia and have his easy fights to build his record. So yeah,
he did. Let me throw this out there though. Andy did say that when he fought you, that was a tough fight. That he found that a challenging fight. Yet when I asked him in the interview if he was thinking you might have any advantages at all, the answer was flat out no.
Yeah, so it's a tough fight, but I've got no advantages. Do you know what I mean? So which one or the other. So I know obviously Wales he's Estonian. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes maybe the language barrier doesn't translate as well. It doesn't. Some of the stuff he was messaging me as well during the camp, like he was bigging me up and telling me, "Oh, please don't hurt me," and blah blah blah. And then he'd be like, "But I'm coming to take your head." It's like it was almost like you have an angel and a demon on his shoulder. One was talking like against each other all the time. So I don't know, but the fact the interview, and then one of our other guys, Jamie Sloan, he fought one of his guys a few weeks ago, and Jamie beat him. I mean, Jamie beat him fair and square.
Idas Sikauskas, that dude's tough. He's a tough kid.
Tough. 6-0, and we had nothing but respect for him. But the way some of the things he was posting about me and about Jamie, and where he was talking about himself, it's like Jamie's a seasoned pro. Jamie's been around a long time, had a lot of fights. So the way they were talking about Jamie, I thought that was disrespectful, and like they're just showing because they've had a few fights and a few local shows and won a few titles. I think they almost seem to be a lot above their station with how they were talking about sort of people and opponents. And I don't like that. I mean, we've got respect for everyone. As long as you show us respect, we've got respect for you. And then Manzona and Sakras and the way they were talking about us, we sort of lost all respect for them now. I mean, I was happy to work with them together. Like we have some team from Southampton, David Nowenko, he comes down and trains with us with some of his guys. They don't want to go to Andy and train with their guys because of their attitude. They come to us and they drive an hour and a half to train with us every Wednesday night. That just sort of goes to show, like they've got the Predators in Southampton. They choose to come to us to train. Do you know what I mean? They're the same nationality as these guys, but they'd rather come train with us. I mean, that sort of says a lot, I feel. So yeah, we don't really get any sort of like respect or like. I even spoke to Sekros. I messaged him afterwards, and our guy sort of messaged him, and he was sort of flat out rude to us about obviously the result. They didn't agree with Jamie, the way Jamie won. Jamie won fair and square. Went to a fourth round. Jamie beat him. You know what I mean? So,
I remember. No, Jamie talked about it. If you haven't seen the interview, go take a look at it because Jamie gave us some good reactions to that actual fight. And to be fair, Jamie actually called a spade and said the kid was tough. The guy hasn't been training that long. I mean, he hasn't even been training like all that long. Like I said, Jamie's a pro.
I think a couple of years, and obviously Jamie's been out of the game for 4.5 years. Jamie's been out, so that was Jamie's first fight back, and obviously because a couple of MMA fights obviously fell through, obviously on the last show. So we knew it was going to be a tough fight. And obviously his main event was for a title, which always carries a bit of pressure. But Jamie conducted himself professionally, fought his heart out, was respectful to the opponents. But after the fight, they were all shouting and going, and the relatives and the fans were kicking off. But we did our job. We won the fight, and we went home and enjoyed it. So,
let me ask you a question then. We often hear a lot about on the internet about how somebody was DMing this or doing that or posting this. You guys actually talk to each other. You guys actually message each other.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
how does that go?
Is
that weird?
It's all right. It's a little bit weird because obviously, like, he's telling me how strong he is, how he's 100 kilos, how he's this, he's that. I'm just like, cool. And then I think he messaged me something about, look, you're a nice guy with a nice family, a nice business. You haven't got to do this. And it's like, yeah, you're right, Andy. And he's like, I have to do this for the money, and I do this as my living, and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, you do. I said, you're almost missing the point there. I haven't got to do this. I've got my team, my coach now. I've got my business, I've got my family, a beautiful new baby. I've got this, but I choose to do this because I want to fight. I like to have a fight. Do you know what I mean? I've always fought tough fights. I mean, my last two opponents are now world champions. Will Fleury is the Abu Dhabi, like the Arabian champion, and Christian Duck just won the Cage Warriors title. I mean,
Yep.
that's my last two opponents who I've lost to. And obviously, what I want with the Manzolo fight. And I do it because I want to do it. I enjoy having a fight. I enjoy the preparation. I enjoy the camp. I enjoy testing myself. And it's like a therapy for me. So Andy saying that, like, oh, you don't have to do this. I have to do this. Always made me feel like your ass is going, Andy. And I can tell, like, you're almost trying to talk me out of it. Like, so.
Does this fight happen?
100%, yeah. As soon as I feel injured, obviously I'm trying to not rush the injury back. It's like the worst way to do it. Every week I'll be trying to do a little bit more, a little bit more. Like I've been doing some stand-up grappling the last last week or so. But I'm just got to be so careful when I go to the ground. As soon as I get any pressure on it, it's agony. And just like coughing and sneezing, like that hurts like almost more than wrestling. So I'm just taking it easy and doing it right because obviously where it's a hairline fracture there's obviously a few injuries that can come off that if I don't sort of manage it right. So I'm just trying to do what the physios and the doctors have told me to do. And just as soon as I'm ready to go, then they'll just full steam ahead, ready for the camp. And now with the set with the boys we've got, and especially having Damien Whedon back, who I don't know if you know too
Yep.
much about
Damo
him,
Whedon. Yep. Yep.
yeah, obviously he's my sort of a long-time training partner, one of my best friends. And now we've got him back, and he's very much involved. Having him involved in the camp is just going to be like another level, especially for me as well. So yeah, so as soon as obviously I'm back in full camp, Jordan and that will be the first to know, and Andy will be the first to know. So yeah, so that fight, hopefully, fingers crossed, so I can get back to training in the next couple of weeks, and then yeah, the next show. That's the plan.
Good to hear it. No, and I mean, I think a lot of people are really quick to even look at a fighter's performance in a fight
Yeah,
and say, one is automatically better than that guy, but they
yeah,
have
yeah,
no
yeah.
idea.
No,
Remember a lot of fans remember the John Jones fight, right? That
yeah,
broken toe, and they were all blown away at the end of the fight of what had actually happened. But there are
yeah,
so many things where a fighter carries something into a fight.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
They fight, they lose, or they perform badly, or they win and it's a lackluster performance, and
yeah.
people have no idea.
No idea.
And after you've got some miles under your belt, which I know you've got some
Yeah,
MMA miles under
yeah,
your
yeah,
belt, you have to make those decisions, especially when the rules of engagement and training
yeah,
go radically wrong or something, one little thing. It could be, I remember like one time oh gosh, we were training throws, I think it was.
yeah,
And the guy, like in the tie up, right, held on to me a little bit too tightly. And
yeah,
as I allowed him to break fall without going too hard, he pulled his forehead into my nose, right? And it was a bad broken nose
yeah, yeah,
over something like
yeah.
controlled. So these
Yeah,
things
these
happen.
things happen. It happens all the time. Like we get. I mean, obviously we've had during this fight, and we've lost two guys to injury. Obviously, and then me as well. So that's three. So
Yeah.
we had 9 guys fighting on the show. We've lost 3 or 4 over the fight camp. Unfortunately, it just happens. I mean,
Yeah.
injuries do happen, especially the level of training you're trying to do. And the boxing, kickboxing, Thai boxing. Then you've got your grappling, jiu-jitsu, judo, wrestling. All these things. I mean, you're going to get injuries. Unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast. So, and obviously, loads. I've got quite a few miles on the clock now, and I've never gone into a fight 100%. No one does. You've always got
Of
things wrong.
course. Of
I've got
course.
things still wrong with me now from years ago, but it's just you just train through it now, and you just try and allow. Like I've got something wrong with my knee, which I've had for years, and even when I'm rolling now, I never sort of go to my left knee. I sort of try and base up on my foot and try and sort of stand off it. So rather
Yeah.
than put that knee down, because I just get like a sharp hot pain all the time, which is just some weird injury from years ago. So I just sort of rather than get it looked at, I just sort of train through it.
Yeah.
So
You make little
it's,
adjustments, right? We
yeah,
make little adjustments and we sort of improvise,
yeah,
adapt, and overcome. I know a lot of people are looking forward to having you back, man. And
yeah,
I definitely want to see this fight. I know a lot of people want to
yeah,
see this fight.
yeah.
If you could give one message to the fans about this fight, what would it be right here, right now?
Um, it's definitely happening. It will be happening. Um, I just don't blink because I think Ali seems to think it's going to go to second or third round, and I'm going to get tired. I'm going to gas. Like I'm not being funny. I had a story the other day. Andy was teaching a seminar or something, and he was getting tired and gassing, just teaching techniques. So I think the 100 kilos that he's walking around with at the moment isn't doing him any favours. And if he comes in like that against me, and he knows how strong I am, he knows how physically aggressive I am for that first 2 or 3 minutes. And I mean, it's all well and good saying he can weather that storm and it's taken me to the deeper waters and beat me, but he's got to weather that storm. And I honestly don't think he's going to be able to do that. So just don't blink because it's not going to be a long fight for Andy this one.
Dun,
So,
dun, dun. Dun, dun,
all
dun. one more question for you, buddy. We got
Yeah.
some great people from the Gorilla Fight team
Yes.
on this
Really have.
show on Saturday night, May 21. If you haven't got a ticket, go and get it. If you haven't got the
Yeah.
pay-per-view, go and get it. If you ain't coming down to the weigh-in on Friday, we're going to be live streaming it. It'll be
Yeah.
madness. Be there. I hope you're there. I hope we can get you on
Yeah.
air and join us. We're
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
have the headsets and doing the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to people watching this about your team who's going to be there? I know some great guys coming.
Yeah, there's some really good fights, really good matches as well. Again, Supreme have gone above and beyond with their matches. Got some really good ones. We've got we've got five guys fighting Jamie Sloan, which I mean everyone sort of knows about Jamie. So there's always that. That's on the main card. That'd be good to watch. And Jamie's been out for for 3 or 4 years now. But he really has worked his arse off up that Bosch gym where he works Monday to Friday, then at the weekends down with us, and he's looking great. So I'm looking forward to that fight. I think he's going to actually run through this guy and then set up for a potential title fight on the next show. Some of the younger guys we've got. First we've got Mike Waters. It's his second amateur fight. He unfortunately lost his first one, but he fought like an absolute fucking champ. He's a warrior. He's got a guy called Ojo. I think it's his replacement for the former opponent. It'll be a good fight. I mean, I think Ojo's a Thai boxer, so he's a stand-up guy. So Mike knows what he's got to do with that one. And then we've got some younger guys. We've got obviously Ross fighting for the amateur title.
Yep.
Ross has worked his socks. He had such a great year as well with the fights he's had. He had a good win on Shokanor a few months ago, and now he's obviously got his title fight coming up. So it'll be a tough fight because Ollie is good and Ollie's very tough, but we know what he does. It's pretty sort of plain and simple how he fights, and we've been planning for that and sort of working with him for that for the last few months. Bo Waters, really, really excited to watch Bo. His hands are unbelievable. He spent years and years training with the Ghost team, under Phil Norman.
Yep.
Phil's a legend. Phil's a legend.
Absolute freaking legend.
Martial arts. And Bo was like one of his proteges, and obviously we're lucky to have Bo come to us. Bo he hasn't fallen out with Phil or anything like that. He just wanted to try something different, obviously. So he come to us, and we're happy to have him on board and work with him. And we've got nothing but respect for Phil and obviously what he's made Bo into. And we're just obviously trying to work on his ground game and make sure he's got that sort of sport and sort of like work to just get his hands going. So we've got him to watch. That'll be a great fight. He's fighting Thomas Cow, I think his name is, and he's a blue belt, so it's going to be tough for Bo. But we feel he's worked hard and he's going to get the result. And then we've got another one, George from Liverpool. He trains at the MMA Academy in Liverpool and obviously trains with us down here. Such a talented guy. He's his first amateur fight, but definitely one to watch. So mate, Tyler gives it quite a bit of talk. And Tyler's a tough kid, and he looks like he's upped his game. He's trained hard for the last part of his camp, and I hope he brings it because he's going to need it. Because George really, really has worked hard, and it's going to be a good fight. And if Tyler comes in sort of underprepared, he's in for a rough night with George, because George has done everything to like on point the whole camp, and I'm very, very impressed with him for his first camp for an amateur like that. And he's on the phone checking, asking questions that not a lot of amateurs normally ask, like checking everything and asking Damo and asking me, and really impressed with him. Looking forward to that. So yeah, it's going to be a good night.
I love it. I love every bit of it, and you know what I love the most, Justin?
Yeah.
I love your enthusiasm. Like you're obsessed. Like we were talking before we started this. No, I'm serious. Like we were talking about fights, and you knew this or that. We were talking about Julian Lane. You know, I just want to bang, bro. I do let you bang, bro. And there's such an amazing kind of like power of positivity when you can lead a team and you can work with people, no matter what it is you do. I feel like martial arts is very conducive to this, right? It breeds this culture. But the best thing about this and this life and the things that we do that we love are the people you get to do it with, I feel like, and that camaraderie, right?
It just helps so many people as well. I mean, you meet so many interesting people through it, and some people are struggling. But we had that seminar at the weekend. Yeah. There was a couple of guys who messaged me about it, saying that it looks amazing, man. Really would like to come to that, but we're struggling for money. I haven't got any work at the moment. Obviously, with everyone struggling at the moment with this energy crisis. And I said, look, I'm not about making money from this. I make money from my roofing. Do you know what I mean? The MMA and the combat sports, I just want to bring as many people into it as I can. That's why I sort of said to these guys, just come along. So don't worry about paying. Just get involved. Just come along to it. And even the guys that are injured, I said, just come along, sit and watch now, listen, video some of it, and just take bits away from you. When you're ready to train, then you can try some of the stuff he showed you. And like even with our membership at our gym, like we keep everything down so low. Like we're not into making money. We just want to be able to like show what it's done for me, what it's done for Damo, like how it's helped like for Jordan. Like just to bring these young lads in and just show them that It's not about like going and stand on the street corners with your stupid ballet on. Do you know what I mean? Act talking like from London. You don't need to be doing all that. Martial arts it's just a brilliant sport. It's just so good for everyone, and it's helped me massively, and my wife as well. Now it's helped her. Obviously, just sort of with her jiu-jitsu, and obviously my kids do it, and it's so good for. I mean, I wish more kids did it. More start jiu-jitsu when you're younger. Like a lot of kids got thrown into like karate when they're younger, but in a street situation, someone grabs hold of you. What are you going to do? Show me kata. It's not really going to get you out of a situation. You should jiu-jitsu and grappling, wrestling, choosing to deal with that situation, get away from it, and also you become that disciplined. You don't want to be in that situation. I mean, you look to avoid those sort of things, and do your talking in the cage, and obviously on the mats.
Of course.
That's what we're trying to get our lads to do. So,
of course.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Justin Moore, I love it, man. I'm a fan.
Thank you very much.
As they say, this is the way, right? This is the way.
It is the way.
I don't know though. You might find me in a tracksuit, with an Ali G do-rag on, chavining around in London at some point. You never know.
Outside in Boston High Street, yeah.
I'm telling you, mate. You don't know. You don't know what you're dealing with here, dude. It's been real. It's been good to talk to you. Okay.
Always, Chris.
All right, we're gonna do this again. So for people watching this is only part of the conversation. Much more to come down the line for Supreme Championships 18, 19, maybe, about the topic of Justin Moore versus Andy Manzello, and among many other things, the great things happening at Guerrilla Fight Team. I'm going to end this for now, Justin, but we'll catch up with you, okay?
No worries. I'll see you soon. All right. Cheers, Chris. I'll see you Saturday.